If they can't anticipate the system, that means they don't know the system. If they don't know the history, that means you ain't never got no free ride. You have never gotten any justice from the system. Never. You just haven't got that. Okay. And everybody's out there getting their head busted. They ought to just go back and stick their head out and get it busted again. Because they done took all of that back and blamed it on the Negro. Yeah. It's your fault. You know, that's ridiculous. Now you gotta remember, our brothers have joined with the immigrants because the immigrants want their share. We came here, they got a whole different thing. Right. We already know that America is unjust, but we will still get in the system. I mean, everybody, hey, they got no black sheriffs, they got in South Carolina, Mississippi, they everywhere. But they still killing the Negro, right? Right. In bigger numbers than before. Yeah. You know, when I was a kid, you could fight the police. I got knots on I'm fighting, you know what I mean? Yeah, sucker. And they just beat you to death. They didn't kill you. Right, right. They started killing the Negro big time after the Civil Rights Movement. All of SWAT teams, when they became militarized, all their training was militarized. All that stuff came after. All these goon squads, those SWAT teams, all that came in the 70s. That came after. All the militarization. Before, a policeman was just a policeman. And you didn't have to, yes sir, no sir, and he'd tell you, you'll sit down. I sit down, what you talking about, man? Bop, you know. In other words, the police were not more human, but they had, something was going on. Right. It wasn't this, where, oh, you got a gun, bam, they killed you. Right, right. Now imagine Mukhtar calling the police, well, the police tell him to call them and tell them that I have guns.
Yeah, you might as well just put the hit out on you or something, like you might as well have it.
And he did it many times. Right. Every time they would come, I had an interview with Officer Hernandez. He was taking an interview, Sergeant. He said, well, he told us you had guns. I said, how many damn times can he tell you that? Well, you're right. I said, I'm right. Now, what do y'all do? I'm just,
that's supposed to be illegal. There's supposed to be criminal charges with,
Of course. I said, how can he can tell you, I own the place, my name is on it, all that. Right. And he ain't got nothing. But he tell y'all that he got me put out. And this is a damn religious place anyway, what you can tell somebody to get out and you can't stay there, you can't, it don't make sense. But anyway, that's okay. I mean, our heart and our mind go out to them. We understand why they did it. What we say is the same persistence you've been using and calling us and right, all of that. Yeah. You use it for your own people.
Yeah, all those. That's something I get kind of stuck on sometimes. All that time, all those resources that them people spend. You could have. You let the Masjid just fall apart. You could have used that work ethic to uplift the community, but you just...
No. They did what they were supposed to do. Remember, when I come out there, I have to turn on the water.
Right, yeah.
G&E and stuff like that. It's no problem. Remember, remember we went through some discussions on anticipation?
Right, yes.
Yeah, this stuff that's happened in the last 20 and 30 years has been easy to anticipate. We just anticipate and then we roll right along with it. They don't come up with nothing new. They don't have nothing new. Okay. All right. So, but now remember, if they don't do any historical review of voting, the value of voting, and they don't do none of that.
Right, right.
Then they don't have a right to be in the positions that they're in.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be a leader, you have to have some power of anticipation, because you're going to lead people somewhere. The people are going to go through the minefield of life. This can blow up, that can blow up. You have to have some feeling of your environment, right? The economics of the environment. So people need advice. Hey man, what are we going to do about business? So you have some understanding of that. The social environment. All of those things you have to be piped in a little bit. Okay. They're not piped in. They took a job. But I don't necessarily blame them, because maybe if they could have did better, they would have done better. You know, you look at everybody, they might have thought that this is my job to work for them. Right? And for the system, it might be easy for some people to talk against the system, but everybody has seen what happens to people that go against the system.
Right, yep.
Okay. You know, about this unity and friendship, there was a guy in history called, I think, Temujin. Temujin later became Genghis Khan. And I think they killed his father or something like that. The tribal people, Mongolians, they were always just bands of people. They would raid the rich Chinamen and then come back, and then, so the Chinamen would always keep them divided amongst themselves. And they give them a little something. The more you divide it and fight amongst yourself, that keep you from coming over here raiding us.
Right.
Long story, this guy, Temujin, started doing some heavy thinking, and he put a little package together, and they started getting bigger and more organized and more developed. Pretty soon, it just happened at that period of time, that little stubby Mongolian horse, the bowls that they used, all the stuff that they had was just right. And they came through, you know, they knocked over that Silk Route, all that, the parts of Afghanistan, they knocked over Iran, they got all the way to Baghdad.
Right,
And they whooped the Muslims.
Yeah, they did.
They whooped the Muslims bad. But Genghis Khan conquered the Muslims, but he took Islam back to Mongolia. Islam conquered him. You see, we see all this. America is in bad shape right now. You can see that the poor white kids and Negroes, they have some sporadic ideas, but they don't have a complete feel for what's going on.
Right, yeah, comprehensive plan of action type.
They need help. Yeah. The world needs help now. My personal view is that we have matured long enough. If you remember, I was saying those ayats that we talked about, you know, to call people to Allah, where Christ says, I'm a Muslim, and return evil, good for evil. That way because enemies may become warm and fuzzy friends. Right? Okay. Those were ayats for evolution and incorporating into our being, not for implementation at that time. This way, see, because, you teach yourself, you learn, those are part of, we feel those. We really do. Okay, so we have been over so many times that also opens up your vista for seeing possibilities. And also, it takes away discomfort or hatred. See, we'll feel comfortable cooperating with white folks as we will with Latinos and anybody else. It ain't, it's not abnormal. But that had to be part of our evolution. I think that Allah has allowed us to evolve now. So that's why we're saying what we're saying now. We thought it was for one reason or several reasons, but it seems like this is the reason for it. So recruit the Negro. It's right to earn the respect of history. When we say write your own future, that means you put in there self-esteem, value. And when people do that, they begin to improve. I believe without the Negro, as you say here, we don't have a chance. I don't mean we don't have a chance, because you always got a chance with Allah. I believe Allah didn't put us in this condition, that we have to evolve to the level I'm talking about, because that's what Allah wants for the Negro. I believe Allah wants the Negro to shine for a while. Everybody get a time to shine in history. Not just sports running up and down and all that, but as managers and organizers. You notice that when you look at all these Negroes on TV, you don't see deep thinkers. You don't see heavy organizers. You might see them glitzy, and movie stuff and all, but you don't see them organizing, and you never saw it. They never showed in the blaxploitation days Negroes taking charge and managing their lives. Right? Okay. Whatever boss man, anybody else did to us, it was always a help. Always a help. And then it just seems like that man's purpose in creation has been evolution anyway, to evolve from one stage to another. Right? Well, I'll tell you, I mentioned Homo erectus technicratus before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a Homo erectus, he walks upright. Technicratus, he has technology, but he's a Neanderthal and everything. He's Neanderthal one time. Soon I'll talk about reparations, but I go off reparations as repair, not just repay. I'm not against it, but just thinking out loud, if the Negro got, say, $1 million each, The only thing I would like to have is a car dealership, fancy clothes dealership with bright colors and stupid stuff like that. And I would have mine right next door to the Negroes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would have all their money. And that's what every Korean and everybody else, I hope they do give it this.
Yeah.
$1 million, boy, you talking about fishing. Hey man, you talking about they don't want nobody to have they want us to have reparations.
Yeah. That's quite the stimulus package right there.
Hey man, let me hear, boy, let me hear. Some man's purpose, alternative outside. Historical behavior patterns, okay, we'll deal with that as well. Historical behavior patterns, that is, anybody who wants to lead should be able to look back over the historical behavior patterns of their environment, and therefore, if you want to predict the future, go back to the past. Because behavior is habitual and it's repetitive, right? So we have to build up our confidence, possibility thinking. That's going to be a great day. I look forward to participating with the Negro on a brotherly basis in this great struggle. I think we can do it. In fact, I know we can do it. I think it's like everything else that they told us we couldn't do. I think we're still a gifted people. That's not from arrogance. I don't care what it was, baseball, basketball. You know, it was a while later. They didn't let the NCCC, the college ball players.
Right, yeah, the HBCUs. Yeah.
They didn't, but they didn't let the Negroes hardly play. They,
Right.
66 or something, the first time they won a basketball. And as soon as the Negroes got in there, they just rewrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine they didn't let Negroes play baseball? I can see why. Tennis. Everything we get hold to. Now they got the little Japanese, mixed Japanese.
Right, yeah.
With the little,
Osaka, something Osaka.
Haitian girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Person.
Just whooping everybody. She was just 15. Now I guess she's 16 or 17. But,
yeah.
you know, we do the same thing politically. That's why they don't like us. Every one of them people overseas, when Dr. Sabiqun said, this is a good nigga here, boy. I have been this nigga I ever seen. I don't even believe him. He's such a good nigga. He's a good, right? That's what he said. That's a translation.
That's the translation.
But that's what he said.
That's the translation.
Boy, this nigga is the essence, he said, of everything that's good. I said, damn, I didn't hear that. Right? And right then, that's when everybody packed up their suitcase. Dr. Sabiqun died. He said that. And 2 weeks later, he passed away. And so Muhammad Al-Asi and all of them, they heard it. Well, that's what was happening. Zayd and them heard it. Zayd didn't hear it in person, but some of the people that was there, they distributed them tapes from over there. They know what was said. Okay, voting system. Okay. Domesticated system, we done done it. Historical analysis, we do that. We do that, but they gotta do it too. With a historical analysis, you would know all of this stuff that we've been talking about today.
When you say they,
They, the Negroes.
Oh, the other
Negro
leaders.
leaders.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
Okay, that's our mission. They are our mission. Just like Joseph and his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to go into all what you did with, just like Joseph, hey man, Allah got you covered. We don't have time to go over all of that.
Right.
But we want them to participate. And we want them to feel like human beings. Nobody likes to see their brothers made and sisters of and stuff like that.
Right.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
The other thing, this is our fall offensive. Now, in history, never do people attack in the fall or the winter. Only in the spring or summer. Right?
Yeah, usually it's the
spring.
Usually the spring, well, usually.
Yeah.
But some.
Okay, so we're doing, this is wonderful. All I can say is it's a trip. This is really a trip. And I'm enjoying it. Because we're taking what we view as the right road. And no hatred and no animosity. Okay. We must bend normality to our will. We must bend normality to our will. Now, only that I have willpower and fortitude and tenacious. Our will is related directly to Allah's will, not the Negro's will. What we talked about willpower before is willpower. There's a plan to make yourself do this and make yourself do that. There's a little bit of that in there. But when you submit to Allah, Allah makes all of that stuff not easy, but kind of easy. The same thing as these self-teaching. When I read any of our flyers that tell, go forth whether equipped lightly or heavily. You know, stuff like that.
Yep.
So whether you're thick or thin, or heavy or light, nimble or stiff, you know, got plenty of money, ain't got hardly none, go forth. And remember, look at all our people. Iranians, the real Iranians, they got it tough right now. The Yemenis, they got it tough. Hezbollah, they got it tough. So we would actually be crybabies over here sitting, you know, with what we got. It's not probably, we can see, it's not that bad. You know, we're inside of America, so we're easy to get.
Right, yeah.
You know, but we're turning that into our